And you can read all these things here. The apple don't make you wise, but Satan can give you forbidden knowledge. Okay, so you can read that yourself. It's part of homework if you really want to know the truth. If you don't, you can stay in ignorance. That is your choice. But remember, there is a choice to be made, heaven and hell. And if you don't make the choice to go to heaven, God has no choice but to send you to hell because you've rejected His Son. This sure doesn't sound like Eve is enjoying an apple. This is far more than an appreciation for literal fruit on a literal tree. All of this language is figurative and symbolic for what really happened. Does the account above sound like someone eating an apple to you? No, because apple isn't even used in that word sense. Of course not, but you have probably been lied to since Sunday school about what really happened in the Garden of Eden, okay? And almost every Christian has been lied to, okay? Native Americans, Hindus, Muslims, all of us have been lied to. No one has not been deceived, okay? But God has given us information and this day and age to come to the truth and the whole truth. Here is what really happened in the Garden of Eden. Eve lost her virginity to the serpent, whom was the tree of the knowledge of good and evil in the midst of the garden, and who is none other than Satan himself. By the way, I haven't seen the word apple mentioned in any of these scriptures yet, have you? No, because it wasn't. Adam also partook of this forbidden fruit. Satan is a supernatural being possessing supernatural powers. Thus he can appear to Adam and Eve as two different things, beings and entities, if he had wanted to. Eve partook of the fruit of Satan and then gave it to Adam, and he ate of it. In other words, she was seduced by Lucifer to have sex with him. Then she had sex with Adam to introduce Adam to the act of sex. She was impregnated and conceived by the serpent first. Then she conceived a second time from Adam. It is believed, and not medically impossible, that Eve got pregnant by both Satan and Adam at the same time. Bible lingo for sexual relation. Lucifer was the way of knowing good and evil. He was the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, because through him they would learn evil. They would perceive evil and they would experience it. Who was the tree of life in the Garden of Eden? Yeshua was. Who was the tree of knowledge of good and evil? Lucifer was. How do we eat of the tree of life? We consume him. We are never to commune with Lucifer. And in this instant, he seduced Eve, impregnated her, and began his own genealogical offspring, the seed line on this earth that is part of us today. And incidentally, if you want more knowledge on that, look up the facts and the research that they've actually been able to prove that at least 60 million people on earth are not 100% genetically human. To see and ears to hear. Here is another excerpt from Blueprint for Bondage in the Aramaic Targum, Sudeo Jonathan, which shows us that Genesis 4 has obviously been tampered with at some point by these evil infiltrators. It should actually be read as followed: and Adam knew his wife Eve, who was pregnated by Satan, and she conceived and bare Cain, and he was like the heavenly beings and not like earthly beings. And she said, I have gotten a man from the angel of the Lord. Lest there be any doubt in the reader's mind as to the identity of Samael, in this passage we read in the International Standard Bible Encyclopedia, according to the Jewish theology, the destroyer or angel of death appears under the name of Samael, the position of God, who was once an archangel before the throne of God and who caused the serpent to tempt Eve. According to Weber, he is not to be distinguished from Satan. The whole time for 6,000 years. Okay, there are several declarations made in this parable that the churches often ignore. The good seed were fathered by the Son of Man, son of Adam. The good seed, Adamites, were the genetic sons of Yahweh. The tares, Cain's seed, are the genetic sons of Satan. The enemy has fathered the tares in the same serpent as Genesis 3 and 15. The sons of Adam, wheat, will then inherit the kingdom after the tares, son of Cain, are destroyed. Again, as stated in verse 38, the field is the world. The good seed are the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked one. This is not only a physical lineage, but a spiritual one as well. Yeshua told the Pharisees of his day, "You are not my sheep," in John 10 and 26, and Josephus Wars 2:8.2. Jewish historian Josephus makes it quite clear the Pharisees and Sadducees were not Israelites by birth, for these are three philosophical sects among the Jews. The followers of the first are whom are the Pharisees, the second are the Sadducees, and the third sect, which pretends to be a severe discipline, are called the Essenes. These last are Jews, Judah by birth, and seem to have a greater affection for one another than any of the other sects. And you guys can get into this research all on your own, because that would be a whole hour extra worth of study. And you know, the whole point of this being is, and I understand that most of the Jews living in Israel right now are not of Jews, but still, we're called as Christians to defend the land of Israel, because it belongs to Yahweh. This is why the Mideast has been erupting for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of centuries. Actually, hundreds and hundreds of years. The war's going on over there because of, it's not just territorial dispute like most people believe. It's because of bloodlines. It's because of the division between Satan's seed and Adam's seed. Satan's actual children are literally living to this day among Jehovah's true Israelite people all around the world, masquerading as members of the bride of Yeshua. The wheat and the tares will continually throughout time grow and live together until the end of the age, when the angels will come and separate them. What about the flood? The seed line started over again with Ham and his wife's offspring, Canaan. And what does Genesis 6 and 4 say? It says that there were giants in the land before the flood and after. Fallen angels resumed having sexual relations with human women after the flood. These are the Anunnaki. The fallen angels resumed having sexual relations with human women after the flood, and you can see that the Anunnaki in the Sumerian language, they were rebuked even by their own higher gods for having sexual relations with human women. Okay, so the fallen angels are the Anunnaki. Okay, so some more concluding thoughts. If you knew George Bush was a generationist Satanist and from the serpent seed line, would you have voted him into office? If you knew the majority of people posing as Jews in Israel today were from Satan's seed line, would you have supported Zionism, which is another term for New World Order? If you knew that over 43,000 pastors and ministers from every denomination was initiated into Messianic Freemasonry, would you support their ministries? And the fact is, many of you are. And here's that word again, almost 99% of the megachurch pastors are Masons, okay? And that's a whole nother story itself, okay? The deception is so great, guys. I cannot pound it into your heads enough, okay? If you want to live with a truthful heart, you've got to accept acknowledgement of all of this information. Don't just watch Ancient Aliens and say, oh, that's the truth. The Anunnaki are gods, and they're going to bring us cake and flour and candies and treat us so wonderfully, and they're just going to pamper us. No, they're going to make you slaves to the Antichrist. They're going to make you slaves, okay? Jesus Christ came here to free us of slavery. He came to take away our shackles. The earth, the whole world, is a prison for the evil one, okay? And we are all his prisoners, whether you want to believe it or not, okay?